Hi, today is Monday, January 22nd, right? January 22nd, 2024. I am just lying down on my floor of the living room, and I'm about to learn something about hooking and API, the difference and how they work. But first, hooking. This article is from vmray.com, and I will read this entire short article to practice English. Yeah, I speak aloud and record it and post it on YouTube. That way I practice my pronunciation and also stay tuned with current English. I constantly feed English mentality in my mindset so that I could be always ready to speak English once I am triggered. My sense of English is triggered by foreigners. Yes, so here I am. So it's a dual purpose. One is to pick up knowledge provided by vmray.com and to also learn English. Along the way, when I see a new word, new expression, cliche, idiom, good sentence, I will just stop and try to memorize them on the spot right there by repeating like twice or three times the subject. Hooking. Hooking is a computer programming term that refers to a collection of techniques. It's not just one technique, but a collection of techniques employed to change how applications or operating systems behave. So it is not only working on applications, but also it works on the applications. Hooking involves interception of function calls, system events or messages, and the code snippets. The code snippets that perform these interceptions are called hooks. Very good definition, I think. Hooking involves the interception of function calls, system events or messages, and the code snippets that perform these interceptions are called hooks. Hooking has a variety of uses and is commonly used for debugging or extending the functionality of particular applications. Hooking can also be employed to monitor behavior, as is the case in performance benchmarking software, where hooks are used to provide the inputs and outputs for system component temperatures, voltages, clock speeds, and frame rates in video games. Provide the inputs and outputs for system component temperatures, voltages, clock speeds, and frame rates in video games. However, hooking can also be used by malicious code, as is the case with rootkits, a form of malware that frequently relies on hooking to fabricate API calls so that it can remain hidden within a system. Conversely, similar to how benchmarking software employs hooking techniques to monitor a system, computer security researchers also use hooking techniques to monitor malware within virtual sandbox analysis environments. How hooking works. As a testament to its flexibility as a cybersecurity tool, both malware authors and security researchers make use of hooking. Interesting. Both malware authors, that's another good term. Malware authors and security researchers make use of hooking. Use hooking. It's better, more grammatical expression. Make use of, right? Make use of hooking instead of just verb use, make use of hooking. Malware generally uses hooking techniques in two principal ways. First, malware uses hooking techniques to steal sensitive information like passwords or banking credentials. This is done by inserting hooks that monitor user inputs from the keyboard at critical times, or with hooks that intercept sensitive information before it can be transmitted across networks. Some advanced forms of malware also use hooking techniques, right? I feel sleepy, man. Malware generally uses hooking techniques in two principal ways. First, malware uses hooking techniques to steal sensitive information like passwords or banking credentials. This is done by inserting hooks that monitor user inputs from the keyboard at critical times, or with hooks that intercept sensitive information before it can be transmitted across networks. Some advanced forms of malware also use hooking techniques to alter the returned results of file system or registry API calls to obfuscate the malware's existence within a victim system from the system itself. Obfuscate, make a hazy, right? Obfuscate. Your brain is muddled. Obfuscate, right? Obfuscate the malware's existence. Second, hooking techniques are also used by security researchers primarily as a part of a dynamic malware analysis toolset. This involves inserting user mode or kernel level driver hooks into a sandbox environment to intercept API and system calls made by malware to better understand its behavior and the threats it may pose. However, using hooking in this way is much less prevalent because increasingly evasive malware types are able to detect the inserted hooks in sandbox environments, making them more difficult to reliably study using this method alone. So this article is very succinct, but it gives a summarized gist of what API is all about. And from this article, I learned such expressions as malware author, right? Malware author, hooking, insert, obfuscate, hide itself from the system itself, right? And the hooking works on the applications and system operating system itself. Obfuscate, researchers and malware authors, they both use hooking, right? Hooking is a combination of techniques to get inputs and outputs from system calls or from some other input activities inside your system. Obfuscate its existence from the system itself. Very succinct article.